Banging happy days, right? Welcome. This is something brand new that I am doing. This is a small athlete podcast hosted by yours truly, Travis Owls. This is something that I wanted to do brand new from me, a bit of talking to camera, nice little podcast. It's going to be on YouTube, Spotify, and then obviously posting clips to Instagram. The reason why I'm starting this is because I want to create something for people who get overlooked but still want to perform at a high level. That's the main goal of this podcast. So it's called a small athlete podcast because I want to share my stories within sport, what I've done, where I am now, how I've got there, and then share stories of other people as well. Not necessarily who are small, but for instance, my next episode is going to be with my best mate, Callum Bratt. He's 6'8". Polar opposite to me. I'm then going to get other people on who have shared similar experiences just in other avenues of sport. But that being said, a little bit about me. So, Travis House, I'm 25 years old. I have played sport since I was around 4 years old. I started in gymnastics. I went from a gymnast into football, into boxing, dropped out of university, found boxing, found sport again. Was really lost at a point in my life to now where I run ultra marathons, but I am now a professional Hyrox athlete. Hence the flags that will sit behind me each episode. But that is a bit about me. I have always wanted to be at a high level. That has always been my goal. I'm now a sponsored athlete, so I'm full-time within sports, which is just unbelievable for me. It's finally a dream come true, and it means that I can share stories like this with you guys, which makes it 20 times better for me personally. But a little bit about my past within sports. So the reason why this is called a small athlete podcast is because I am 5'4" at a push. 5'3", 5'4". I really need to get measured. I might set up a measuring tape in here just to really get to grips with how tall I am. I could do a marking on the wall, which would be quite funny. But yeah, I'm a smaller athlete within every sport I've ever played. I started gymnastics when I was 4 or 5 years old and got to a high level in that. I was second in the nation with a team within my school. Then went into trampolining, again came 5th in the nation for that one within schools. From there I drafted into football, played football for a long time. But the reason why sports for me has always been so different is when I was at school, I played development academies, and when I was at school recently got dropped from that academy. Went into school and year 7 at football. The biggest story I have got within something that shaped me as a sportsman is I had a PE teacher say to some students that I didn't get put onto the pitch because I'm too small and not physically able enough. And that for me really hit home. I was an 11-year-old kid wanting to be a professional athlete, wanting to be the best I can be at the time. That was my goal. To hear that when you're so young, it can really shoot you down. So I then made it my mission in life to prove everyone wrong, to prove to myself that I can, no matter what that teacher might say, and to prove to everyone else around me that I can, no matter what they think. That has always been my purpose within sport, and I'm hoping that I am still reaching new levels within that purpose, and I'm showing myself definitely that I can do things. There's always that bit of self-doubt, which is another reason why I wanted to do this podcast. For me, it airs out my thoughts, and for you guys, it means that you can kind of hear the truth about how it feels sometimes, and then it also kind of, I'm hoping that I am striving towards greatness within what I see. That's the sole purpose for me, is to really push the boundaries of what people perceive. Is they've got those perceived limits and I want to push past them. That's always been the goal, especially as someone who is a smaller athlete within quite a, I'm not going to say a height-induced sport. It's not. People still figuring out who's what. But that's the journey that I'm going to go on. That's the journey I'm going to share. At the moment within Hyrox, obviously it's my biggest sport. It's what I do as a profession now. Few stats about me. I have got the world record for the most amount of Hyrox complete in 24 hours as a doubles. I've done 12 and 24 with Callum Bratt, who will be coming on the podcast next time. I'm also a relay world record holder for the mixed and the men's. I've got the British world records for both. I'm the fastest in the world for burpees and wall balls within the relays. My pro doubles times are 52 minutes with Jamie George. My pro solo is 61, hoping to knock on the door of sub 60s very quickly, very soon. Open doubles is 52 and men's open is 57 minutes. So for me, I'm trying to establish more and more fast times and get myself in the elite rankings very soon. But that being said, that's who I am. And that is the reality of being small within sport. You are, excuse the metaphor, looked down on a lot of the time. But my goal is to never be looked down on and to always be someone who is looked at as a kind of threat within the sport, is one of the bigger competitors. That's the goal for it. The turning point for me within sport is going back to school, was having that teacher say that I wouldn't do well, to flipping the mindset. I think a lot of sport is overlooked when it comes to mindset. People always turn to the physical and they never really look at the mental. But if you train your mental to be better than your physical, then that is where you gain the edge. It's all about gaining your mental edge. That's what makes the difference within sport. You could be as tall as you want, as short as you want, as talented as you want, as physically gifted as you want. If you don't have the mindset, nothing's going to change. You're not going to be the best in the world. And I think I first realised that mindset was key was when I went into ultramarathons. This poster is from the Snowden 24. It's called the Summit Mentality. That's a company that I own. But the Summit Mentality was started around something called the Snowden 24. It's a mountain race where you run up and down Mount Snowden as many times as you can in 24 hours. I've done it as a team of 3 with Summit Mentality. So it was myself, Ted Stroud and Joe Turpenny. We had a documentary made about it. And the reason why we got the documentary made about it is because it is all about the mental aspect of ultra running and mental aspect of sport. I talk in that about my overcomings with height in sport. But my turning point was this race, really. When you're running up a mountain at 2 a.m. in the morning, pitch black, no one else around you, you're left with your own thoughts a lot of the time. Never in my life did I think I'd ever run a marathon, let alone 60k of running up a mountain with just over 4,000 metres of elevation overall over the 24 hours that I ran. That for me was when I realised what I am really capable of. And from then I've gone on to do other ultras and other races and other types of fitness and racing. My alarm's now going off. It's now 8 a.m. and I'm filming this because I'm still jet lagged. Just came back from New Zealand. Another fun fact. But yeah, that was really the turning point. Was my mentality just changed. I realised that I always kind of knew that I was as good as the taller guys, the bigger guys, and I knew that I physically had to gain size to match up against them. I remember back when I was playing football as a young kid, obviously I was getting barged off the ball left, right, centre, so I made my biggest strength on the football pitch a throw-in. And with that throw-in, I knew that one good skill that I had would make the difference at a lot of points within the game. I remember doing that as like a 9-year-old kid. That's all I practiced, throwing. I became the best in the team at throwing, so they played me all the time. It's small things like that where you master your craft and you gain the edge mentally before you gain it physically. But that's what I've learned, is gain that mental edge, and that's what makes the biggest difference. Why this podcast? Why I'm doing a small athlete podcast? It is just sharing my stories and then sharing other people's stories as well within sport. I am going to keep it sports based because that is what I do. That is my profession. That's what I want to share, and I feel like there's a lot you can learn about sports and then take into life. I have done for years. Everything I've done in sport, I've passed through and taken it into everyday life. But it's a good way for me to air out my story and how I could kind of digest what's happened to then give small little messages to you. If one person listened to it, brilliant. If 100 people listen to it, amazing. It's not about that for me. For me, it is literally just about sharing my thoughts and sharing it with you guys and an audience that wants to hear it. But what to expect from the entire series, it's going to be guest talks. A lot of it's going to be solo. I'm going to share bits to my Instagram. It's just Travis Owls on Instagram. For questions that people want me to answer, we could talk about nutrition, we could talk about overcomings, we could talk about upcoming races, any questions within Hyrox, within other aspects of sport. The sky's the limit. But I am making this podcast for those reasons, where I want to tap into questions a little bit more in depth. They're not going to be long podcasts, 15 to like 30 minutes maximum, just because I want to keep it short, sweet, straight to the point. And the ones that are solo will probably be shorter than the ones with people. But if there's any guests that you think would be cool to get on, let me know. I'm literally filming this in my garage. I've got a cool backdrop. It's all boxes that side. But I don't care. If someone wants to be on a podcast, I'll get them on a podcast. I'm going to be talking to close friends. I'm going to be talking to people I've met through the Hyrox circuit, other people I've met through sport. So whoever you think would want to come on, or you think you'd want me to get on to, talk about, drop me a message, send some comments through, and then we'll get them on. But that being said, welcome to a Small Athlete podcast with me, Travis Owls, and I'm excited for the journey ahead and to see where it goes.